All right, good morning, gents and ladies. February 6th, utility board meeting starting at 8:16 a.m. We've got the board president, myself, Eric Smith, Pat McKeith, Earl Parsons, Matt Raridan, and we've got some guests, Grumpy with the Town Board, Jared Hall with Cronin Associates, Jeff Wolf, a consultant, and Allie Hickman, the clerk treasurer. Today's meeting is going to solely focused on the rate study that Jared Hall has put together with Cronin. Just so everyone's aware, Jared just puts the numbers together. That's all he does, regardless of if you like the news of what he brings. He's good at math, which is why he's here. And so it could be kind of emotional at times, but we want to make sure that everyone understands Jared's here to help us. So you got the floor, brother.
Yeah, Eric, I appreciate that intro. I could use that every time. So yeah, so I'm Jared Hall, Cronin Associates, town's financial advisor. Yeah, so as Eric mentioned, you guys have a project, or actually get bids on that, the water project next Tuesday, I believe. We're in the process. We've been talking about this project for quite a while. Preliminary numbers with the engineers and run some rate impacts, but now we're kind of getting to the point where you're going to get construction bids on Tuesday. The idea is that, we move forward with, we have to get the rates at a level that's sufficient to repay the debt service on the project. And I'll go into all the details and the numbers, but the goal here is to get this project and the financing moved, and plan is to close on the financing in early April. So we sit here in early February, we've got to go USB, you guys review it, make a recommendation to the town council. We then take it to the town council, do the same presentation. There'll be an introduction, a public hearing, and then if they want to move forward in adoption of the rate ordinance, and then the financing. So kind of just where we are, lay of the land. Should each have a copy of this presentation, and then also there's a more comprehensive. Do you need?
Yeah, I need another copy.
And then there's a thicker packet. This is the rate study, kind of like all the detail. What I found
That's what I printed out for you guys.
Okay. Most effective is to kind of pick out the pieces that are important and apply to the conversation, and I put them in this presentation. So I'll go through this. There's a lot of just copies of the schedules, but we'll go through whatever you guys want. I need to make sure everybody's comfortable. Like Eric said, I just run the numbers. So, I'm just here to get the rates where they need to be to accomplish the project. So I guess we'll just, we can jump in here. If you go ahead and flip to the first page, it says rate history in Indiana code. So I like to start with a little bit of history, but in your cases, they just raised the rates, I believe it's October and November. There's a slight increase, a 7.5% increase. And that was based on a rate study that was prepared, I'll say 4 or 5 years ago. And really the point of that was to allow the utilities to make a payment in lieu of taxes. And what that is a mechanism that's allowed that basically allows the utilities to make a payment to the town, so the general fund of the town, in lieu of taxes, because you don't pay property taxes on your assets as like a non-municipal entity would. It's a mechanism that the state has provided that allows you.
Can we pause there for a moment? Is everyone familiar with that, Matt? I know you're pretty new.
Yeah.
Okay. So just generically speaking, utility owns facilities in town.
Okay.
And we don't pay property taxes on them per se. We pay a fee to the town.
Okay.
That's essentially what that means.
Okay.
Just a quick summary.
Yes, no, that's perfect.
And so that fee that the town has charged us was traditionally, I can't remember the exact level, I'd have to look it up, was here, and it went up to here. And that was due to the recent bill from the governor that reduced property taxes, et cetera. So just less money coming in. So it was kind of a shell game in a lot of ways in regards to how you reallocate dollars. So they basically increased our fee of existing with our facilities.
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
And if I
yeah,
said
we could go- we could go into a
misspeak
whole-
on anything, you
That's
just
perfect.
shut it
Yeah,
down.
There's a lot to it, but yeah, as Eric mentioned, it's a mechanism to allow utilities to effectively help out the town. And it's reasonable and it's calculated and it's specific. It's not just an arbitrary number we just made up. We went through it right at length at the council level, back in October. So all that to say, there's an increase, and that actually goes into effect with bills going out this month, February. So I don't even think it's actually hit the bills yet on those customers. The average bill, so in the industry, we use 4,000 gallons as just kind of a benchmark average standard, so we can compare apples to apples. So 4,000 gallons, so an average customer bill with 4,000 gallons and a fire protection charge right now is $39.35. So that's with that 7.5% increase.
See, can I ask a question real
Yes.
quick? So I know you're saying that that's the average customer billing for the state of Indiana, correct? So does ours vary much from that?
It probably doesn't vary if I'm guessing, and I could look in there. It's probably slightly less.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to look at the brightest side I possibly can. We might be slightly less on our number here if that's average falls below this 4,000.
Yeah, if your average bill in town is 3,000 gallons, then that bill is.
Yeah, well, no, I just want to make sure everybody understands.
And I can get that data.
Well, that needs, what it is, but I'm just, yeah, that's all I wanted to ask.
Yep.
What's fire protection? Is that for the fire plug out in front of your house, or is that separate?
That's the, let's do it. Yeah, so that's gonna, the idea is that's a flat fee based on your meter, public fire protection charge per month. So right now it's $4.71 for a 5/8 inch meter, which is a residential hookup. And the idea is, I mean, you guys had that in place for years now, but I think the idea is that it helps, support the hydrants and
Right.
the water system has to be designed to make sure there's sufficient pressure, volume, all that.
Well, we're all paying for the hydrants anyway, cause I mean, I got a fire plug right in front of my house in the
Yeah.
driveway.
Yeah.
But that's on the bill separate.
Yeah, it's
It's not
charge.
listed as the water. Water's one thing, then fire protection is separate.
Right, that's right.
He just has the numbers up there.
And to your point, I like to be conservative. I put it all in there because what happens if I just do the water consumption? Somebody's gonna come and say, well, my bill is
Yeah,
$4.71 more. So we just put it all in. like
Okay,
the
well,
bill.
that's what I was getting at, so you just added that in.
Yeah, so
So
it's
what-
included in that.
So what is this plug you're talking about?
I think he means.
The hydrant.
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's the paper maintenance and everything on them.
Okay.
It's one of those, like, you don't need it till you need it, but when you need it, you want it, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you have to build in the.
And hopefully it's
insurance.
not used very often, so you
Yeah.
need maintenance to go there to check it, flush it, maintain it.
So that $39.35 includes both charges. So, the next thing here is just, it's kind of a reminder, for the boards, the council, the public, that, that you guys as a board and the council is gonna be the one that has to make the decision ultimately, right, to adopt it as elected officials. Their responsibility is to maintain utility rates that are sufficient. Like, there's a statutory requirement of taking the role of the town council or board, and those rates must be sufficient. And I kind of list some of the things you have to provide, right? So you must maintain rates that cover your operating maintenance expense, a sufficient level of working capital. So that's, cash flow, make sure you got enough money to cover unexpected expenses, things like that. Debt service on any bonds or other debt. There's a debt service reserve, and then a depreciation allowance and replacement. So we like to put this in because what it does is it says, look, we get, a lot of times, nobody wants to raise rates. We understand that. It's the way it is, but you do have a responsibility to make sure that the water keeps coming out of the tap. It's clean, safe, healthy. A lot of people forget that. Like, I remember early in my career, I went to a conference and, keynote speaker, and the guy got up and held a bottle of water and said, how much is this bottle of water? And it was $1, right? So you pay $1, and people don't flinch at that. You pay $1 for water.
Yeah.
But then they say, well, I get 4,000 gallons of that same water for $30, $40. And you think about it that way, you kind of, because, right, Earl, we got a lot of work to get that water, to drink, to be safe, for your kids to bathe in, so. Just, I like to put that in there because it does remind everybody that, like, you guys don't want to do this, none of you want to do this, but you gotta keep the system moving, so.
Yep.
All right. So, next slide, just the process. How do we do the rate, develop rates? So first thing we do is we compile historical financials, excuse me. And we put together, Ally was great and got us updated 2025 financials. So we have the most current financial information we're basing all this information off of. So 12/31/2025 is our test year. So that's where we're gonna base everything off of, that information. We then look at, the best we can, we project what's gonna happen on the expense side, on the revenue side, of course, the bonds, the financing. And what we do is develop what we call revenue requirements. So we calculate how much money do we need to pay for all this stuff. Salaries, the light bill, the bond payment, all those things. And that gives us a number. We then look at what we're bringing in now. We develop, like, there's a shortfall between what we need and what we're bringing in. And that's how we calculate what kind of increase we need. So, and then we're kind of here, right? Present the rate study recommendations to the USB and the town council. And then it's up to you guys to decide how you're moving forward.
Is there a standard rate on is there a standard, rate on the debt, on the bonds? Of how much, I mean, how did you figure
Yeah,
how much off of those bonds that we had to?
yeah.
He's got an amortization
Yeah,
chart in there.
I'm gonna go right to the numbers now. So we'll get into the weeds here. So, first thing we did, you go to that pro forma operating disbursement schedule. So
That's the amortization.
we've taken the test year. So you'll see where it's identified test year. That's your 2025 expenses, actual expenses. We then make adjustments to develop a pro forma. And the goal here is to try and, project out 3 to 4 years. It's an estimate, it's a projection based on what we do. We do this all day, every day. Any feedback we have from the town, if insurance is gonna go up or chemicals are gonna go up, right? We can make one-off adjustments for things like that. So we've gone through, made adjustments to come up with our projected operating expense. While it may not happen next year, might happen by 2028, right? We always hope to be a little conservative, so we don't have to come back here in the next year or two. But so you can see we've made an adjustment about $39,000 a year to get us to that $325,000 level. Any questions on that? We go to the next schedule. This is the project costs and funding. So this is what we call sources and uses. So this is the water project. We start at the top. We have what we call the uses of funds. So we've got the water treatment plant improvements. So the $3,862,000 figure is an engineer's estimate right now. And they're not here to talk about it or speak to it, but we're constantly, I'm always saying, hey, any updates, any changes, right? Because they're always getting information. I think they do their best. Of course, they try and they're on the high side, because what's going to happen is Tuesday we're going to get bids right here. And you're going to open those bids, and I'm sure everybody's hoping that it's less than $3,862,000, right? So if not, we'll adjust accordingly and go forward. But right now, that's an estimate from the engineers. Engineering and inspection, there's a whole bunch of stuff they do, design. They can speak to that. I think you all have a contract with them. Grant administration. So there was an Okra grant on this that you have been awarded. That's something I forgot to mention. So you have been awarded an Okra grant. And the reason we're on, it's kind of a fast timeline, is we got to close this deal we got to get our matching financing, which is bonds, by the end of April. So
To receive the grant,
to
right?
receive the grant, so you have $750,000 sitting on the table, free and clear.
Don't want to mess that up.
No. And then, so you have a grant administrator and cost related to that, and then you have cost of issuance. So that would include the bond counsel, my fees. There's a fee, so we're gonna sell this to Indiana Bond Bank. They have a fee. These are just the cost of doing the bond. So you add all that up, you come up with $4,852,000. How are we gonna pay for that? So, as I mentioned, we have a $750,000 Okra grant. There's $852,000 of funds on hand, and those funds on hand are basically all the Arbor money. So Arbor Homes, I don't know who all knows or if everybody's up to speed on that. So Arbor Homes, I assume everybody knows, they're building a neighborhood out there. The town has worked with them to get them to basically prepay their capacity fees to the town, so we can get the money, so we don't have to borrow as much money, right? So, that's not common, so I think that's a wonderful thing that the town has been able to work that out. So
They have agreed on that?
yeah, and they've made 3 of the 4 payments, so they paid them on time, they were, I believe, quarterly. And 3 of them have been made, the last one is April 1st. So I kind of went through that process. We talked, I'm like, well, I would collect because I want to have a high confidence the money's going to be there. And they've done 3 out of the 4 timely without any issues. So I have no reason to expect that.
So just for clarity, it's 163, and I'm looking at your notes,
Yep.
163 homes at $4,000 for the impact fee, which is
Yes.
$652,000.
Yep.
That's what the town negotiated to get that money up front versus per house at a time.
And then,
The additional $200,000, can you address that one?
yes, and I might need some help on that. That's related to the electric. Like,
They
it's a
agreed,
little confusing to me, to be honest.
We
they
did.
agreed for an upfront payment to help the electric, but then it was decided by the council to use that toward this project because the electric had money in the.
We just did a swap,
Yeah,
is what we
that's right.
did.
That's what I thought, but yes.
Yeah, it's a legitimate swap.
Yeah, we did a
So the
legitimate swap.
new circuit going out to town from here to serve Arbor had to be installed, and it was roughly 200 grand.
So we paid for that and they donated the 200.
Well, not
Not
donated.
They didn't donate.
There's no donations in
We
this.
No,
switched
not
the
donated,
money
sorry.
because electric has more money in it to help us offset these costs.
Okay,
So every account has to maintain separate, you can't cross streams,
Mm-mm.
right? Earl, did I speak, is everything correct that said so far?
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I thought, but it was,
Because this would be, yeah, if we get this number wrong, that's a big.
yeah, and
big
we've
issue.
got the money and yeah, so all those are plus benefits in that that's just that much less that we have to borrow, right? We need $4.8 million somewhere. So if we get 750,000 grant, you've got the 852,000. So that brings the loan amount to $3,250,000. Now, we get bids on Tuesday, and I'm constantly like, this is all gonna get updated, hopefully to the good, right? So if the treatment plant, the bids come in lower, or it'll basically lower the bond amount. Yes,
So, real quick question, I don't know if you were gonna get to it later or not, but what is the term of the bond?
yeah, so it's a 20-year bond. Yes, I'll get
I
to
figured
that.
you were, so you
No,
can
it's-
get, just tell me, hey, I'll get
No,
you.
it's fine, and that's what,
Yeah.
like, in your big packet, we can jump in there real quick, let's look at that a little bit, so you guys can, I want you guys to understand.
No, I was getting, I just,
It's not in the presentation per se, so we can.
okay, well, good, I'm glad I asked
Pages
that.
7 and 8 of the rate study report. So 7 is literally the exact same as we just went through on the presentation. And then page 8 is the proposed amortization schedule. So I can give you a quick rundown of what this is. So we're assuming the closing on April 2nd, 2026. $3,250,000. Its final maturity is 7/1/2046, so that's 20 years and a couple months, right? So it's just a little over 20 years, which is a traditional financing. That's what most, that's where we start at, and you can go shorter, you can go longer. This is going to be sold to the Indiana Bond Bank, which is it's a state entity that provides really, I don't know if aggressive is the right word. They're going to give you better financing than if I have to go out to the open market, right? So they're going to, so that's why we chose this
It's the
program.
finance vehicle you're using.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's the
uses.
financing mechanism. If not, we have to go what we call open market, and there's more issuance cost, like I have to do more work, the attorneys.
Yeah.
So there's that piece of it, and then there's market risk. This just given everything we got going in kind of the timeline. This is a really great program for communities in situations just like this. Like I remember when they started it, I was kind of lobbying that these projects don't really have a great place to get financing. And so by that program starting, it's been really good.
How many years has the program been operating?
It's only been the CFR, I want to say 3 or 4 years. I mean, basically it's the state surplus money they're lending out. Like that's what I mean, they're lending it out. Instead of them investing it in whatever they invest in, they figured like, look, we can lend it to you guys, make 4.5%.
They invest in their community, basically.
Yeah, basically investing in the state and projects.
What's this called again? The Indiana?
Indiana Bond Bank,
Bond
and it's the, I get American, CFR or CRF, I think it's Community Revitalization Fund, CRF. And yeah, there's a bunch of information online.
So that 4.5, that's a locked rate,
No,
correct?
that's an estimate, and I hope, so I think Grumpy was asking about that. Again, I'm being conservative.
Okay,
We did one of these about a month and a half ago, and it was on average, because it'll be a progressive rate, like it might start at 3 and go up to 5.
okay.
But on average, about 4%. The market's been pretty stable. So,
Really?
yeah.
Well, how much can it vary?
Well,
So it's not a locked
well,
rate?
we're gonna put a cap, there's a cap in the bond ordinance at like
Okay.
6%, but,
4.5 seems high to me. I mean, to loan it to us from the state.
I mean, it's still market, it's high, it's investment grade high. It'd be like the equivalent to a high rated open market deal. Let's see how I mean, well, at 4.5, I hope is high. So what I'm saying, I expect it to be closer to 4. I can't guarantee that though. Like this is the hard part of my job. Like I can't come in here and say it's gonna be this, that, because they don't price it until we get till like mid-March. But I have a lot of confidence. I communicate with them. They give us scales, estimates, all that, I mean, unless something drastic happens, which, that's what,
A
What-
couple of factors that are gonna play at this is the size of the bond's not that big. When you start looking at projects across the state.
Yeah,
So you have less investors, you went to the open market, you have less investors.
yeah.
And so you don't have the competition for a bond like this that you would for say a $40 million bond.
Mm-hmm.
And also the town being the size that it is challenging for the bond investors to say, we're gonna dedicate a lot of effort to lowering that rate. So that's kind of what's at play here is they're putting it with Indiana Bond Bank because they're the ones out there playing in that market
Yeah.
instead of us.
But I guess I'm not sure what,
I mean, it's the market rate is basically what it,
yeah, I mean,
It
you're
is
gonna
what
get the
it
market
is.
rate, whereas if I have to go out and say, hey, I've got Thorntown here that wants to borrow 3.2 to Jeff's point, like, it's not the same as saying Bloomington, not that, like, that's a big variance, but like, there is that value and it makes it a little more challenging because they're gonna say, well, look, I've got $3 million. I don't know anything about Thorntown, Indiana. Because when we talk about the market, I'm talking like big insurance companies, like big investors.
Yeah.
It's not, now if you have somebody local here that wants to, donate or lend, $3.5 million, right? That's a different story. But, so that's where it becomes a challenge in the program. Like the bond bank says, look, we're going to give you a good market rate, but but you don't have to like sell us, you don't have to like create this story and try and find the right investor, because sometimes it's just about finding the right person, and it's not always easy. So I guess what would you think the rate would be if you say it seems high?
Well, I mean, if the state's loaning the town money, I would think it should be down in the high twos, 2.5 to 2.9, something like that. Because you start talking 4.5%, at 4%, that's $40 per thousand. How many thousands are in the millions times that $40? I mean, that's what the interest money that you're paying is horrendous. Even at 4%.
I mean, I can't speak to them and their investment, but like what I would say is they could take that money and put it in a simple savings account and get 3+%. So right, it's for them, there's like an opportunity cost too. So I think that's a bit of, and they're not, I don't say they're making money, but they're not losing money.
So going through this, you can't negotiate interest rates, and it's gonna be a higher interest rate if we don't go with any of them.
Yeah. I mean, I would not have 4.5% here if we were doing open market. I'd be putting down 5% at least, if not more. That's, I mean, I truly think, and it might backfire on me, but like I am usually pretty aggressive and high on these, because I don't really want to come back and say, well, it was 5%. No.
Yeah.
I have no control over that, but.
I mean, it's anticipated calculated rate based upon your experience.
Yeah.
And the number could change. And that's basically that.
I'm just thinking about, we got a new governor, and if he loves the state of Indiana, what makes a difference what the going rate is? It's what he would think. But then the bean counters come in and say, oh no, we can't do this. Well, that's a bunch of crap. He can do it if he wants to. He can lower that rate, because you're helping the state of Indiana, the town, and part of the Indiana that he's the governor over.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
that's
just
so
don't-
far outside of our.
I was gonna say,
control.
Well, it is out of our control, but I'm just telling you what, if you was the governor, why wouldn't you want to be helping your state? And if you keep higher interest rates, that isn't helping your state.
I can't speak to Braun. There's a lot. I got other things I gotta deal with what he's doing in the state of Indiana.
I mean, I guess basically, Grumpy, there's probably no better competitive alternative than the Indiana Bond Bank is what Jared's saying.
Well, I agree.
So you're
with
just
it, but
basically
we've done it before. We've used that before, and I agree that you gotta go with the lowest interest we can get for that kind of money, but to us, that's a hell of a lot of money. Now, it may not be to a bigger city that's doing something, just like out here where they're building all this crap on 32. I mean, we're talking multi-millions of dollars out there.
Yeah. Does that answer your question on the payment?
Yeah.
Perfect. So if we go back to the presentation packet, so schedule 6. So this is where kind of bring everything together. So it's pro forma revenue requirement schedule. And I tried to make it as big as I could there, but it's a lot of information going there. So put together like two kind of scenarios. To be honest, like there's no project and project. The no project's not really an option. It's more of an illustration so that you guys can see, if we didn't do the project, what it would, compare. So we start at the top. As I mentioned earlier, we have the pro forma revenue requirement. So we pull in the pro forma operating disbursement. So you remember from a couple schedules ago where I took the test year, we made some adjustments to come up with that annual $325,000 projected expense. The next line down is it's the debt service on the proposed bond. So that AM schedule that we just looked at, if you look at the far right column, it's going to have the annual payment. And in this case, we just pulled the largest one. They should be within $1,000, all those payments, level debt service, but $250,900. There's your payment in lieu of taxes that I talked about earlier. So it's right now it's $19,403 a year. And then depreciation, working capital, and debt reserve. So this is kind of the catch-all. Obviously, as it states, so depreciation, so this is gonna provide basically for any expenses that the water utility may incur that aren't identified above, right? And I'm sure Earl could speak to all the things that happen that aren't planned, and you got fixes, you got repair and maintenance. But you also just need to have a little bit of extra for like, for our funds to save for the future. And when I say save, I say that in a way that's like, we're not saving a bunch of money to get rich to stockpile. Like, I know a lot of people get like, sitting on all this cash. It's not what's happening here, but we also do need to live a little bit, need to have some extra. Then also there's a debt service reserve. So anytime you do a bond financing, there's a couple of things that the purchasers want as a security enhancement, I guess, as you will. So one thing is they want to make sure you have enough revenue, money to pay your bills, right? The next one is called a debt service reserve. So what you have to do is set aside 1 year of debt payments. So in this case, $250,000. And it sits in a fund, set aside, so that if something happens, rates aren't sufficient, the water utility stops working, whatever, that you at least have a year's worth of payment set aside to pay them, okay? So there's a couple of ways you can fund that. You could either fund it, you could borrow the money, and then we could just set it aside. That costs, because you're borrowing money, paying interest on it. The other option is to fund it over a period of time. And so you have 5 years or 60 months, you make 60 monthly transfers to fund that reserve requirement. And that's what we've basically done here. So we built in that $87,815, we built in an allowance, as you will, to set that money aside. And Ally, part of her many duties will be to make that transfer every month. And that, yes.
So that amount is purely for, right now, we only have included the year for the, let me get this statement right. That $87,815 only represents money that we're putting back for 1 year of a bond payment.
Some of that $87,000 will be set aside for the debt service reserve.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically. So of the 87,815, what percentage of that is for the
$250,000, what, $50,000 a year?
Got it.
So we try to match, like, see that
Got it.
36,
Yeah.
we try to, and this is where,
So 37, roughly speaking around numbers,
Yeah.
37,815 of it is for working capital for replacement of a water line or something happens.
if you don't use it, it would likely go into like a depreciation fund. We could set it aside, it stays there. You don't lose it.
Right, I
That's-
understand that. I'm just trying to figure out how much you're putting back for capital projects in the
Yeah.
future. That's
Well,
what
I
I'm
got
talking
I got a question about that 250. So you're talking about setting it aside right in some account?
Yep.
So can that go into can that go into that account to the state of Indiana
Trust
as an
Indiana.
investment
100%.
and make a little money
Heck
off of it to
yeah.
help
Yeah, that's-
offset that?
I expect that. Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to think of all the,
no, that's a great, no, it's a good point, and that's right. And it's a product of, like, this is just the way it is, when you go to a mortgage, right, like, you have to follow their rules. This is part of the way
that's
this.
the thing, they're good with that. The investors are good with you investing that money.
Yeah. It's gotta be liquid. You gotta be able to get to it, which at Trust Indiana.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you most definitely can. So what happens is that money stays in that fund and it has to stay there until the bonds are paid off. So it's not, a lot of times you could use it to make the last bond payment if you wanted. We're talking 20 years from now, like.
Yeah.
it's-
Then we have 5 years to accumulate that money.
Yeah.
That's the
you can.
window.
Yep.
That's the
And it'll be
maximum?
in the bond ordinance, which I don't think we do an ordinance for you as the council. You'll get a lot to read, to go through, but a bond ordinance, it'll say how you can fund that.
Go back to where that 250,000,
Mhm.
where does that come from?
Like as in, where did I develop, so it's the maximum amount.
So you see these values for the bond payment changes every year.
Yeah,
They went and found the largest amount.
I think it,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
right
right
here it
here.
is. And since we have to have one bond payment reserved in reserve,
I understand that, but where does the money actually come from?
You,
Our income, I'm assuming.
so it's in here, so that's what Eric and I were just talking about. So 50, so of this 87,000, 50,000 a year for 5 years, right?
Mhm.
Will go into a different fund.
but so
There'll be
yeah,
another line item.
I can break it out if you want, yeah. Yeah.
Well, would there be, I guess my question is, would there be another line item for that $50,000, or does it go into something that's already there?
Another line item,
and you can't, in the books,
another, in the books, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, she would create a fund, she'll create a fund and it'll say debt service reserve fund. And so you'll see it in the fund report,
okay.
it's cash, yeah. Now, it's not available cash per se, like, right?
it's reserved.
It's reserved, it's
reserved,
restricted, but yeah, it'll stay on your books, it's your money, you can invest it.
That's about all we can do.
Yeah.
until
So
the
after
last
5
minute.
years, it's all interest from then on.
Yep,
You know, you make quite a bit of money off that.
yeah. So, yeah, and then it'll just sit there. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully you never need it. I mean, right, if the idea is if you need it, then we don't have enough
So
money
you're
to
saying
pay
all
our bills.
all this money can go into one of the trusts and collect interest, we just can't pull out except for the difference,
Yeah,
so we would have.
yeah, so I would probably advise Ally to say, look, if you got $1,000, once you're at 200, the requirement, so we call it the debt service reserve requirement, $250,900. Once you're at that level, you just keep that. So any money that comes in above that, she would just apply the interest to operating or some other fund, yeah.
Right.
And you can withdraw from that up until you get to the 250.
It's a pretty good way to build up your depreciation fund too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Might want to just keep putting it in there. Because we'll have established rates by then to take care of that.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my only question.
So all of those revenue requirements calculate up to $683,118. So we need to generate that much money every year to provide for all of these. So if we go down and we say, okay, well, our test year, we brought in 2025, we brought in $258,379. That does not include the 7.5% rate increase that will go into effect this month. So we're making adjustments because the current rates do include that. So that's another $19,378. You have your public fire protection revenues, that's $42,281. Those went up 7.5% also, so that's another $3,171. You get total, so your current, as the rates sit, all things the same as the test year, you bring in $359,909. Excuse me, $323,209. Skip one there. So if we take what we need to generate versus what we are generating, we have a shortfall of $359,909, which in that case is 111% shortfall. So take that, your current rate that you go down there, that average customer bill, $39.35. You increase it by 111%, you get $83.20.
I only have one question about that, and I'm sure I know what the answer is gonna be, but you do this all the time, so where do we fall in relationship with other towns approximately our size?
Yeah. So your current bill is really low. The 39 is really low.
Yeah,
Because we're making a big step up. I'm not gonna lie, like it's a big
Yeah,
jump, it's a big
yeah.
increase. So that puts you, it doesn't put you exceptionally, I would say it probably does put you closer on the higher end. But not remote, I can prepare rate comps and find rates that are significantly higher, but I
I'm
would
just trying
say
to get
that's
an
not.
idea,
Yeah, no, I would say you're not out of touch by any means.
okay.
I would say you're really low, and so this is the tricky part, and I don't know who all knows Buzz, I'm sure some of you know Buzz, but one of the things I do like, that he says is, when it comes to percentages, it's, you always gotta like, kind of take it with a grain of salt, because 111% of a little not little, but a relatively low number, right? Creates, it's not as big as if you have a high number with a lower percent.
Right.
And so, like Eric prefaced here, I've squeezed this, honestly, my job, in my opinion, is to make sure I set your rates at a level that do work. It doesn't do me any good to not get them where they need to be.
Right.
Because I could probably squeeze some things down. We could probably squeeze that operating expense and working capital a little bit and maybe get it down to 105. But then that might put us back here in another year. We got to do this again. So my goal is to find what's really going to set you guys up for success, or not failure. But also I'm obviously aware that we're not being frivolous here. So we really do scrutinize these numbers and scrub them and try and get them as tight as we possibly can. But also
It costs what it
not
costs.
setting you up for failure in a year or two.
So what's this gonna cover us in time before there's another rate increase?
Well, so
That you recommend that we'd have another?
yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'll start with that. The one good thing, and we can't factor it in, but we can know. You mentioned something earlier before the meeting about we've got stuff coming in the future. One thing this doesn't factor in is all those new homes out there and the revenue they're gonna put in, because I can't go sell the bonds based on,
Because there aren't any.
they're not there, but they're probably coming. So what we can do is look at and say, well, if 163 homes connect over the next, I don't know, time, year or two, maybe a couple of years, right? That's going to generate some more income. So that could either buy you more, it's going to give you more revenue for more projects, or it's just going to buy you more time till that next rate increase. So if this is the final project and this is where we go, a lot of times when communities that have some growth and development like that, you can go a lot longer without needing a rate increase.
So just for clarity, and correct me at any point in time, please, Jared. These numbers, as far as income, is based upon the current
Right.
population.
Yeah.
It does not include
Right.
those homes out there at all. So, anticipating the home sale would be a good thing to offset.
Well, that's why I early on asked him about that percentage rate that we were going off of, because I can see that's the only place where that's gonna make this vary without changing the numbers for stuff.
So,
And that may only be only a little, but I I totally understand. I understand.
Well, is what you came up with here, is that enough money coming in to pay for everything unless we have a catastrophic failure of the water plant?
Yes. Unless something abnormal happens, yes, this should be, and especially with that, kind of that bit of, we know that's out there, the growth, the build, it's just a little extra. But I didn't factor that in. I didn't contemplate it necessarily when doing these. But yeah,
Well, based on you didn't factor in even one for out there, right? So
No.
there's 163 homes that's going to be built, and that would increase the income to the town for the water.
Yeah.
Based on that, would it be prudent to take half of that money and pay extra on the payback bill to pay that off sooner?
Well, you can't. So there'll be a 10-year call, which means you can't prepay the bonds for the first 10 years. That's just the way it, yeah, so, I think the theory of what you're saying is fine. What you would do in that case is, look, hey, if we find that we're generating more revenue than we need, right, we'll put it away, we'll set it aside in a fund, improvement fund, depreciation fund, something like that. Capital fund, and if you have capital needs, you'll invest in that. If you don't, in 10 years from now, you have so much cash that we don't know what to do, whatever, then we can look at that as an option. Definitely. But that's still, I think there's a long way between here and there.
I don't think you're going to have buckets. of
No,
homes.
did you do that 83, 163 times 12? Is that what you were doing on that calculator?
Yeah, so what was it, 163 times,
83 times 12.
163 times 83 times 12, 162,
Yeah,
348.
so it's $162,000, assuming they're all
That's
like
all
4,000
houses.
gallons.
But that's for what? That's a month?
No,
Yeah.
that's a year, that's a year. Yeah.
For a year. I took the 163 homes, multiplied it by 83, and then multiplied it by 12. It should have been 83.
Project was
Yeah.
1758, so it's not like this is gonna happen anytime soon.
No.
So my question is, let's say the bid is lower than what comes in. at.
Yeah.
The interest rate comes in lower
Yeah.
than what's in that. We don't have to pay as much money. At that point in time, we have the rates at whatever it's set at, all that money that we don't have to pay can go into another fund
Yeah,
for the
well.
projects, right? At that
Yes.
point.
So if
I
you
mean,
took that
My plan is, so
80,000
today,
of that and put it in the.
what we need from you, the town, what we need the USB to do is make, and I talked to Amy, as I was telling Ally this morning, I'm not an attorney, but you guys need to make a recommendation to the council to consider rates. There is no document, there's no level, but like, so that needs to happen, but and I plan to come, assuming you all do that, I'm gonna be at the February 16th council meeting to make this presentation to them and hopefully introduce a rate ordinance. And we're gonna introduce it's like kind of just formally like, here's a rate ordinance with some numbers on it, but it starts the process, okay? I'm gonna get to your, I
Okay.
promise you. And so that starts the process. So I've got these numbers right now. Next Tuesday, we get the bids. I'm gonna update this, and I hope that I can update it by lowering it, the bond amount, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna use my discretion. If it goes down a couple $1,000, I'm probably not gonna change the
Yeah.
numbers. If it comes in significantly less, and I want the rates as low as possible too, like for you all. So then we're gonna update everything, and then, maybe bring to them, $80. So, like, whatever it is. So sorry, does that get you? kind of
Yeah, because I was like, we're doing this off of hypothetical numbers that
Yeah.
are set in stone, but you would titrate what we would need in a rate increase by what the bid is and what the interest.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right. And that's what, this is all happening really fast, because what happened was, you all got Okra awarded. Then it kind of started the CDS to do their design work, which it's quite a bit of work. And so finally, we're now to the point where they got the bids out a couple months ago, I think, or the request for bids. They're getting the bids Tuesday, but we have to close in order to fund the Okra by April. So basically put me in a funnel,
Yeah.
squeeze it.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to keep things moving along because we have a timeline to get there. I also want to make sure everybody is aware and comfortable and all that. So not trying to push things, but understanding that
There are deadlines that you can't control
there's
that have to be
deadlines in
met.
place.
So the first increase is 7% or whatever it was, and it's getting brought into right now. So if we say yes to this rate increase, when would it start showing up on the bills?
Yeah, I knew that was that's a great question. Let me look at something really quick here. Probably sooner than later. If you want my opinion, I would just say as soon as possible, but a lot of people want to try and push that up. I want to look at, because we have to start, so July 1, 2026, you have to make a $36,000 interest payment, right, based on, or whatever that ends up being. So we have to make sure we have money for that. And that's, 4 months. If we close in April, it's 4 months. So, and then we have one, so probably immediately. Yeah, because then you're gonna have 123 at the end of 26. I can adjust this a little bit, I can defer this out a little bit, and I will on the final version. It's not gonna matter to you guys, gonna remove a couple thousand here or there, but all things the same. But
What was the date of that first payment?
So
July
7/1,
1st,
26.
Okay. Yeah, that's and it's roughly
36,000.
36,000. And just to put that in terms, if you look at how much we billed and received, You're looking floating around the $20,000 mark per month is what we bring in. So right there at a $36,000 interest payment is 2 months of income that we would be bringing in that would have to go towards that without
I
any
mean, I'm
rate
sure you can give
increase.
us like a hard deadline on when it has to be done.
Well, and I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna see if I can get that pushed out. I mean, it's gonna be the same interest cost, but I might be able to get them to defer that or push it out till January 1, so,
Who does that go to? Where does that?
the bond bank.
Okay,
Yeah, so Ally will set aside money every month
mhm.
in a bond and interest fund, basically equivalent to like 1/6 of the next semi-annual payment. Kind of like an escrow on a mortgage, like think about it that way. So she'll set it aside, it'll build up a fund, payment will be due, she'll spend the money, set it aside, and it'll just, but that way you don't have to just budget and go, oh, we got a $36,000 payment due out of operating, we just take a little bit out every month and build it up, so.
July 1st.
Yeah,
It's like 5
fast,
months
it's fast.
away.
Yeah,
That's 5 months away from the first interest payment.
yeah, I think I can get that done, that's one of the things, like, you just kind of, work with the bond purchaser, and it's a discretionary thing, and so they'll be able to work. I have a feeling they'll be
You
able
think
to
you'll be
work.
able to?
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna-
I think
Thank
so.
you.
Push it out at the same cost though.
Yeah, it's the same, you're just accruing interest from April 2nd to January 1/27. It's the same dollars.
Okay,
Because
okay.
there's no
What's the benefit of
compounding
deferment though at that point?
Huh?
What's the benefit of deferment?
It's gonna give you a chance to get your rates in place, collect the money, pay, like, it's gonna be tight, because you gotta think
Yeah.
about if we get, let's say we get these approved in March. Sandy is gonna have to get her system updated, like, I mean, the wheels take a minute to get going, and by the time it gets to your mailbox, and then you turn around and pay your bill, I mean, there's,
The cash flows.
like, it's a cash
There's
flow.
not enough time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right, so April, the bills go out the bills would go out in April. No. The rate increase would start, April, right?
Yeah, however we wanna.
Depending on when they
All right, so
approve.
let's say everything goes smooth, would start in April. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, bills would,
Then you get your, roughly 30 days.
But do you want to make it that
36
tight though?
ago.
When you want to
Well,
make it
hell
one
no.
March?
I'm
That's why
saying, I
we're
don't know
trying
that
to
that's
delay
gonna
that.
happen. And I think we definitely need to get it pushed back.
Yeah, we need
yeah,
to push
I'll
that back.
get it.
I mean, essentially, there's, it'd be nice to see if we could get a little bit more time to get things set
Yeah.
up. Thank you for looking into that.
So
Jared.
I've got a timeline here.
Yeah.
Of all of the things. So March 2nd, they have penciled in, town council would adopt bond ordinance, hold the public hearing on the rates, and adopt a rate ordinance. So March 2nd, assuming all that, we get March 2nd, if they let them know the system gets updated, maybe they get it out on the April bills. Like the bills she sent, then she collects them in May, right? So I mean,
That's upon all the approve, that's approved through the council.
yeah, that's up to the council.
Yeah.
So, all right, perfect.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, that's
Well, the other thing that might help us out, and I don't know how, I haven't been out and talked to the guy out at Arbor, but if they are selling houses that they can start building, which they can start building, now that the electric's approved, right?
Yes.
So they can start building houses, we would start bringing in money a little bit quicker than we suspect. And I thought when
Yeah, but
we
it's
started,
it's
we were
this year,
talking.
though. It's
Yeah,
still this year, it's not
yeah.
gonna be fast enough. Unless
Well, I
Jared gets
know
pushed
it's
back.
not gonna be completely fast enough, but it'll help.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Once we start building houses and then get people start
And so-
paying to move in, it's gonna help us, but it's not gonna help that much until we get a 163 of
They've
it.
got 8 or 10 under construction now, don't they?
Well, I want to say they have 5 or 6.
Okay.
I think 8 building permits?
Probably have 8 or 10 permits,
Yeah.
but 5 or 6 under construction.
So they did start on some of them.
One of them's almost entirely framed in, if you want to call it what they do out there framing now.
By their model home, they probably do their
The model
model.
home.
No, model
Oh,
home.
model home.
They've already got a couple that are in that process.
They'll go fast. My experience, I live in Noblesville, so like,
Yeah, blink
I
your
saw, I
eye.
saw.
Blink
I saw-
your eyes.
Mushrooms.
I
We
saw
run,
a
they're
framer
like
out
in
there
a
on
field and then
Sunday.
2 months later, it's full of houses. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, there we go.
I saw
So,
a framer out
Sheridan
there on
went
Sunday.
up overnight.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable to me. I
once
used
they
to work,
get going.
I used to work in Sheridan. That wasn't anything but fields.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. So, I got one more page here, it's kind of like the summary, but I think we've covered it. Oh, the no project option was exactly what it was. Like if all the same revenue requirements, but no bonds, you still be possibly a 17.7% increase in order to fund all those things.
Mhm.
So the debt only makes up, 95% of the 111. But sometimes I don't think it helps to show those. But yeah, so, as mentioned, those rates provide for operations, depreciation, debt, service, payment in lieu of taxes, and then just, kind of restating what those rates would be at those levels.
So my big concern, of course, is capital projects that don't involve the water treatment system. And we've got water towers, we've got water lines. They're all old.
I mean, how much money do we have set aside to do that as of right now?
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
Huh? Yeah.
And so, I mean, so that was the point I was gonna bring up is, there is some allowance in there for,
well, the West Tower isn't that old.
No, it's
just
not.
still, the water lines, I guess is the big thing I'm concerned about. We haven't had any breaks or anything that,
Watch it.
yeah, so I guess the concern is the age of the water system piping, right? Now, we do have, working capital and debt reserve, but of the 87,000, but that's only $37,000 a year for capital. That, that's nothing. I mean, genuinely nothing. So at best, we're still to the point, even with the new water treatment plant, we're essentially, we're not putting any money back for capital projects at all. And then, so the strategy on the capital projects end is we're going to assume that 163 homes are going to get completely filled and that additional income is going to come in, and then that money could now be used for, putting more money back for capital projects. For sure. But that's a gamble, right?
Well, not really. We know the houses are gonna go in there. We know we're gonna recoup that amount of money.
Okay, fairly certain.
Yeah,
But the time schedule, right?
yeah.
Right
Well,
now,
you
the
just gotta,
issue-
you cross your fingers and hope something doesn't
Right,
break.
so long-term, 5 years down the road, yeah, probably, maybe things will shake out, but, right now we're at the crunch time, we're at a big disadvantage, especially.
So,
Yeah.
so what do we do with that? Let's say something happens, we have to replace a water line, we have zero funds whatsoever, you have to get another bond at that point?
Yeah. If it's that big of a problem.
Yeah,
Gotta go looking for money.
Well, one of the things, like I said, we've been working on this project for a while, I'm obviously aware of the rate impact. So a lot of times what we would do like some options, and the variable is what Eric is talking about, is that kind of working capital depreciation line. So if we were just coming in here doing a traditional rate study, I would say, okay, well, here's your different allowances and here's the rate impact. And when I say allowances, maybe we put 36 as an option one. We say, well, if you wanted to do $100,000 a year, this is the impact. We didn't do that. I can go back and do it. It's just it will increase it over the 111%. I just figured that was probably enough. But
Well, I agree,
You know,
I understand your strat, yeah,
So
I
that
understand
is
you understand your audience.
yeah. And so that's to your point, is like, that's the variable, like how much does the town want to raise the rates to create those extra funds for, depreciation, repair, and maintenance, things like that. So
Yeah, basically, gambling, you like a good French lick, right? I'm kidding.
so
So it's a gamble in regards to the capital improvements. We just, cross our fingers, hope everything's okay, but no one has x-ray vision.
Yeah.
We
Well,
also know
outside
what
of,
the engineer's saying in regards to, livable life of the pipe. It's done, so.
outside of talking to Sandy, how many people do you think in Thorntown use 4,000 gallons a month? And that's, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I mean,
We've
I
got,
would say I have no idea, and like, because, that's, just depending how many people have irrigation. Like, I mean, there's a lot of, every community's different. Let me look at the billings. I think we got a billing
I
chart.
don't really know anybody's got irrigation, but
Well, I mean, but,
This ties into my very first question about that first number that we're going off of, based on 4,000,
so
which
page,
might make it cheaper. That's what I was getting at.
page 4, so there's a lot more information in the rate study. So page 4 is like all the billing data, by customer class, by month. It shows the dollars, the gallons billed, the number of customers, so you can kind of like, if you wanna do some quick math, you know, your residential, Eric, you got that calculator there, do you wanna take that 23 million divided by,
Wait a minute, let me get on the same page where you're at.
so the middle?
You're like at 2025, 23 million.
Yeah, so that's total gallons.
23,075,507.
Yeah.
That's for what is that? That's for 2025.
Yeah,
That's how many gallons of water we produced.
that's how many gallons you sold to
Sold,
residential
got it. I
customers.
see it. And then
And then-
commercial's
So
9.7.
then you divide that by 637 customers. That's your average bill. Divide that by 12, should give you the average monthly. So,
3,000? No, that can't be right.
yeah, 3,000 something?
Yeah.
That's what I would
Oh,
expect.
monthly.
So you asked the question, earlier about the average
Gallons, yeah.
residential.
Sorry, I was thinking
Yeah.
of dollars. I was going, oh my gosh, $2,000.
No,
Divided by 6.
so
That's
you're-
where I was saying, that's about the only place we're gonna save any money or might change that any at all.
and I can put that in, I can update the report to say, look, Thorntown's average residential customer,
Yeah, but what's the difference in the money?
That's what we're saying.
sometimes it matters though. I mean, doing this and
what'd you
talking, some
come up
people,
with?
everybody cares about
23
something
million.
different.
Yeah.
Yes, but what is it? What's,
Average divided by 637 divided by 12,
yeah,
3,019 gallons.
so 3,000 gallons is your average residential user.
And then,
For what?
Water, residential customers.
yeah, I'll show you where the numbers come
So
from.
you're saying that everybody averages out to 3,000
Yeah.
gallons a month
Yes,
instead of 4.
Which is 25%.
I mean, I can tell you the 3,000 gallon charge. It's still, their bill's gonna increase 111%.
No, I understand.
So 30. So it's about 18, 36, 72 plus 10. Sorry. Oh no, 3,000. So 18, 36, 50. Need my calc, 18 times 3.
54.
Yeah, 54 plus
Yeah,
10, so about $64 would be the 3,000 gallon, the proposed.
Right.
Because
Which is-
your fire protection, it's like $9.96 and $10, and then about $18 per thousand for 3,000 gallons. 54 plus 10, $64. And then-
Sounds way better than
Yeah,
83.
and I can, and honestly, I'll put that in the report for the council and say, look, industry standard, everything we measure off of, you're going for grants, hey, what's your 4,000 gallon rate? So that's why we always put that, but we'll put in the Thorntown average residential customer uses about 3,000 gallons and here's the rates. I think that will help.
It just shows that we're trying to,
Oh, you're just showing them, yeah. Because everybody's gonna go, my bill's gonna be 80 something dollars now. Well, if they're only using $18, I'm gonna
Yeah,
spend
mine
$18.
was $18 this last month, so it'd be doubled to 36,
So the
which that's not
3,000
too
should
bad,
spend
but
About 27 bucks right
mine was 39. I looked at it before I came up here, just to get an idea.
Yes.
you're using too much water.
now.
I stink a lot, so I have to take a lot of showers. But that was what my initial question was. That would be the only place where you can,
Well, I didn't, we got a lot of people in town that are old people and they're on fixed incomes and that's really gonna hurt. I mean, I know we have to do it or we can't put a water plant in, but
well, I mean, aren't
How
we
much is
required
too
to put a
much?
water plant in?
but then we need,
That's what I
it's
thought.
like we were talking earlier, if we have anything at all happen, a major water line break, and you have to work on it. It's not gonna be cheap to fix things.
Right.
And, how long, if we put a completely new plant in, I wonder what the average is on how long that before general maintenance on it brings up a bill too. And what is general maintenance on a new water plant other than filters and chemicals? I mean, I
Could be
don't know.
anything. Pumps are gonna be the first things.
Yeah, but they should last,
5 years. Dan Cutshaw said that the plant is scheduled for a 20-year life for sure. They can count on it. That doesn't mean nothing's gonna happen in the meantime. But
20-year life with regular maintenance, scheduled
yeah,
maintenance.
right. But if you think of just keeping it up, the plant we have now, though we've replaced pumps and what have you, it's the same piping, same filters from 1959. So good maintenance could make it last a decent amount of
Well,
time.
that's what I was getting ready to say. Why did we have a 20-year plant in 1959 that's lasted 100 years, or not 100, but it's lasted a hell of a bunch of years? But now we're putting in something that's less than that, it's worth 20 years. So as all of our products getting cheaper that they're building with than they built with 1959, my God, that thing lasted from then till now and it can still go on. I'm not really sure we need a new plant, but we got IDEM saying we do just because it's that old. But nobody's run out of water yet.
Right. I'm not positive who actually told us we needed a new plant. I don't know. I think a couple of people who have their fingers in the pot told us we needed one, but that's a totally different issue.
Well, that, it is what it is and we're gonna have to do it, but I'm just saying that it seems like if you got a 20-year plant now, and we've had this one since 1959, 66 years that plant's run, and it's still usable. But now we're putting in a 20-year plant, and something seems a little fishy.
Well, one of the things about the new plant is it is being built with the idea of expansion, so it'll be easily expanded. Now, I know you're kind of talking longevity, but I think the idea is it's being built with the idea that it will be able to handle any more growth that goes beyond what that one is being designed for.
But then go back here and look at this water usage last year for residential. That all came out of a hole in the ground with two wells. We're gonna put the third well in. That's just what we drew out. They got 5 wells out there drew out for Lebanon. We don't even know how much water's in that underground. And we're taking that much water out just for us, not to mention what Lebanon's taking out of there. And all these farmers around here have all ditched their fields. So all the water's run off into either ditches or creeks. How's the water getting back in the aquifer? That's what concerns me, because we keep tapping into what water we got. And, I'm just hoping when they drill this new well that it's a usable well instead of pumping out sand. We got to move someplace and dig another well, because we've already given them $100,000 to dig a well.
Well, they did soil samples and everything, I'm assuming, to make sure it's gonna work, right?
No, they don't know. This is an exploratory well.
All wells are
Every well
exploratory.
is exploratory.
You don't know till you get to it.
Yeah,
It's possible to tell.
We're just hoping that when we.
Using science and math and all that stuff
that's
to
what
try
I'm
and
saying, yeah.
reduce the probability.
And we're over an aquifer. The likelihood of it being a good well is way better than 50%.
Oh, yeah, it's a big.
But how much water is in that aquifer? That's the whole thing.
Well-
Nobody can tell. I've been on Cutshaw for almost a year to tell me that, but all we can do is get an outline of where these aquifers are. We know where they are. We don't know how much water's in them. And
Well-
Lebanon's taking 5 wells out of there. We're taking 2, there's gonna be 3.
Well, I won't know. I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, other than don't build anything or don't get extra people. I know what you're saying. You just don't know if there's gonna be enough.
Well, what happens if those wells go dry?
Yeah, well,
You know, we're fortunate because we're sitting over an aquifer, but that doesn't mean it's just gonna go forever.
oh, I
You can only use so much water out of those things and they're gonna go dry at some point.
I see what you're saying. No argument for me.
But I just can't believe it our engineers have got all this knowledge and
Yeah.
that they can't tell us, give us some kind of an estimate, and we don't know how the water's getting back in to the aquifer. Where's it coming from? If the water doesn't go down through the ground and go back into those aquifers, how's it get in there if they're funneling it off to someplace else and all the farmers are ditching their fields around here? I mean, those kind of things bother me because we don't have any answers. And then we're putting in a water plant and a new well and we're raising rates. And if the water plant, if we run out of water, the rates aren't gonna make any difference.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a huge, what you're talking about is definitely a huge problem.
Yeah.
You go out west, it gets worse.
Well, yeah, and that's why Lebanon was in.
You go south, it gets worse.
Well, they didn't have water and they just about got sued for those builders because they couldn't build anything.
Well, I guess we need to get that Army Corps of Engineers map and put that reservoir in. There's a map for a reservoir around here.
Yeah, you can get it online. I had a map that
I
showed
think, yeah,
several of the reservoirs.
yeah.
It showed the outline of the reservoirs, but it didn't show how deep they were, how much water they had in them. But you take out several million gallons a year out of those reservoirs, how's it get back in there? It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the purposes of this rate study, that 3% inflationary increase, is that pretty common value that you use?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it goes back, I mean, yeah. So the construction estimate, we'll find out next week. Once you get that, then you can solidify the interest rate and.
the interest rate probably isn't gonna change.
Okay.
The size, the bond size, that sources and uses gets updated, which then updates the bond sizing.
Got it.
I'm gonna run with 4.5%. I'll probably make another call, when I just confirm on that payment, see if they got any updated scales, see if anything's changed.
Okay.
On the 4.5%.
but you think it might be a little less right now?
Yeah. I hope, yes. I don't usually like to come back and tell you it went up. So I usually try and, I'll tell you, it's got a little padding in it. But as remember we started this discussion a year or so ago, right?
Yeah.
When we start with this set of assumptions and we're
Whittling it down.
chiseling down here, right? So we get bids on Tuesday, that's a big one, right? Like, once we lock that in, honestly, the interest rate, if I go from 4.5 to 4.25 to 4, it's not gonna make a huge, it might drop that 250 down to maybe 240. So you're talking, it's $10,000 out.
Yeah.
It helps, but it's
Yeah,
not
but
like
over
it's gonna
20
go down to
years.
$100,000.
We need, if anything, you want to see a big decrease in the rate, you need to see big numbers get cut in
Yeah,
half.
Bang's gonna be in those construction.
And
if you-
that's not going to happen. It's not going to all of a sudden be a $2 million project
Yeah.
or $1 million project.
I don't speak to that, I stay away from that. It's not my-
Yeah, the market
Yeah.
did take it, so. At this point, there's really, this is what it's going to cost to increase
Well,
to cover it.
Dan said that he knows, I think he's worked with 2 or 3 of them that's interested in putting in a bid that he's familiar with and he's comfortable with them. There's a couple that he doesn't know anything about, but my question to him was, excuse me, do we have to take the lowest bidder?
The most
And-
responsive,
Yeah,
most responsive bidder.
Yeah,
and, yeah, I think, and it's not my bailiwick, but like, unless you have a real reason, to not work with somebody, I think, but
Yeah, so in the bid documents, they have to submit financials. So what they'll do, it's a Form 96A, State Board of Work of Accounts. They give you financial information to the company, and if the company is not in good shape, then, you could consider, hey, they may go bankrupt on this job, in which case you go to the next responsive bidder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are escape clauses out there in regards to make sure you're getting what you want.
Well, you
Or
can
confident.
drive around Indiana and see who the lowest bidders were.
Space Shuttle was lowest bidder. Sometimes it's just knowing the customer can get you a lower price.
so is this solely about just being able to draw more water or putting in the new plant? I mean, so that should change the quality of our water, I'm assuming also, right? Isn't that gonna change the quality of the
Well,
water?
it'll upgrade the process. I will tell you this, we test our water every day, and we send out for coliform twice a month, a regulation. And Dan will tell you this too, because he's testing the raw water, which means he does it before we do any system.
It's
We have
good.
great water, great water. Eric was with me the other day when we talked to Dan about this, and he says, you guys have some of the best water because all of your maximum contamination levels are so low that that's just natural.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah,
will it
raw
improve?
water, not
That's
filtered,
raw water.
raw water.
So will it improve, I'm assuming?
Yeah, but it's so damn hard, you could use it for a hammer.
Yeah, that's-
It's a water softener.
But yeah, so basically, I mean, you essentially have, yeah, I think we're getting off topic.
Yeah, I do too.
Jared, is there anything else that you need to present to us? What's the outcome that we need
I
here?
don't need to present, and I'm not an attorney, but, you guys need to make a
Motion.
a
Oh,
motion
gotcha.
that they,
This is a favorable
Consider-
rate study and it needs to go up to the town council. Yeah, I understand that. Got it. Okay.
He wants to get out of here without
no,
us
I'm not
beating him
done
up.
yet. Well, my morning just started, I'm not ready to
He-
go.
he-
No, we got another resolution after this
Okay.
for you all.
Go ahead.
Did you, it's the bond side of things. Do you want to do the rate thing, or?
Yeah, Make the motion
So-
for the council.
Do you want to get all the information first or?
You probably, I mean, you can do it separately, it's not gonna make any difference.
Yeah, that's fine. So this is I guess the attorneys kind of cover this, but I can do it. So the other thing, the rate stuff is just a motion. There's no resolution or anything that you all need to do.
Thank you.
This is related to the bonds. So as you can read it, and it's short, it has it just has a couple of kind of the key parameters, and I'll be happy to talk about those because I gave them those parameters to put in there and I can explain the why. But basically, you guys would adopt this resolution, which basically recommends that the council consider the financing as well.
Gotcha.
Because the council has to make they have the final decision on kind of all things related to borrowing and rate increase, but, I used to do that, but I didn't. So, yeah. Yeah, recommending the issuance of the water bond. So, there's a lot of the legal language in there, but if you go down to number 2, utility board does hereby recommend to the council that the town issue its waterwork bonds, if necessary, bond anticipation notes, which is that's a bridge loan. We're not doing that, but it's kind of standard language, in an aggregate amount not to exceed $6 million. So here's how this works. So, and it'll be in the bond. You guys will get a bond ordinance that's, I think it's 44 pages. So you'll be getting that to review. That's what would come before you guys to adopt. But These parameters here are kind of the maximum, right? And so we always, put high to give us some room. 6 million was, I used the number that we had for total project costs. I'm trying to find what number I had in my sources and uses. And then I think I rounded it up. So I had 4.8 million. I just said 6 million. It sets an upper limit. By no means do we have any plans, nor would we go borrow $6 million. So, to your point, if you guys adopted a bond ordinance that said $6 million, I'm not going to borrow $6 million unless you want me to. There's always that concern. It's kind of a formality of setting parameters, thresholds. And so if there was something that changed and maybe the funds on hand or the OCR didn't happen, and we had to borrow more money on the bond side of things, we could shift. Of course, we would have to come back, we would talk to you all, but we wouldn't have to go through the adoption process of the bond ordinance again. That's what we're doing. So that is,
Or bids come in incredibly high.
and bids come in incredibly high. I mean, a lot of times, it really is because there's some variation. This is a little bit different because you have like the large funds on hand in the OCR grant. I just decided to take the whole project cost as the maximum amount, round it a little bit. So that's what that means. It by no means means you're going to go out and borrow $6 million. And then also you see that final maturity, July 1, 2046. That is kind of fixed and known because that's the maximum term we could do with bond bank anyways. And then 6% sets a limit. So we're not going to borrow any more than you can afford. Well, we can't because they won't lend us the money. Yeah, right. So, but those are just the parameters. This is pretty kind of simple and straightforward. Is there any other questions that you guys see in there? Try and answer.
Jens?
No, not for me.
And as you guys, I assume, will follow this along through the council, there will be I have one draft that I've been reviewing. It's like 44 pages that lays out, dots every I, crosses the T's, and more than you'd ever want to know about bonds and kind of legally how they have to get set up. But if you guys pass this, it'll go to them. So.
Any discussion on the rate study? I think we kicked that dog to death in regards to.
Oh, yeah.
Again, the concern I had was capital projects, the avenue right now, the outlook right now is, well, when we get 163 homes out there, we'll start to bring in more revenue.
That'll help make up.
That will help, but I mean, I'm conservative in regards to that. And we've got a deadline coming up soon. So, I mean, this is going to hit fast, guys.
We just need to address it as it comes. I think this is the first thing, and then it's up to the town council, and then we just have to address, like, it, hopefully we don't have any issues down the road, for a few years that are so impactful that it kills us. I mean, but like I said, so we have to do this anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing to even,
I mean, you don't have to, right?
well,
I don't want to make, no one's twisting
Yeah.
your arm on it, but
Yeah,
it's definitely, it's a money issue, right?
yeah, you
If you
can't
spend
want to
more- if
drag
you
it out
spend more,
anymore. Yeah,
Then you bring in, then there's a deficit
we
issue.
don't want to drag
And
it
then
out.
communicating with the town is a concern of mine. I mean, people need to know quickly that, hey, this
Yeah.
is coming. And I didn't realize in the last bill that we sent out with the increase that there wasn't any note on the water bill. And that's on me. I make sure that if we do any changes, I'd like someone to point out, hey, we've increased it.
Yeah.
And because that whole sounds kind of shady,
Right.
you're trying to sneak it in. Well, it was at the town board meeting, et cetera, so on, but we really need, I believe, to have.
Well, that was the last available
That's
amount
correct.
from the last rate study.
Right. Earl, did you have
So-
anything to add? Any comments? What's your thoughts on the capital projects?
I think we ought to be talking 115%, not 111. I think that we're probably gonna undershoot it regardless.
I think the operational costs end on this stuff is the other concern. I can't imagine that your maintenance costs are gonna be less.
Oh, no, there's no reason to believe that at all. No.
I have one question for you. So let's say we go, well, we're gonna sure we're gonna go through with this. So down the road, then we kind of see how the numbers shake out, how it all, revenue and all that and extra houses. So when would be I can't believe I'm saying this, when would be the next rate study to, do you have an
Yeah,
idea?
every 6 months we should do, no, I'm just kidding. No.
But I mean,
No,
there's-
no, but that's a good question. So what I would say is there's a couple of ways you can go about it, like, and we do it, every client is different based on what you need. I mean, first you could go every year, you could update the financials and say, like a management report in which you do an analysis and it says, oh, look, we're in good shape. A lot of times a lot of it you can monitor by watching your cash. I mean, it's really, you watch your cash, what's going on, what's coming. I would say like, the theory is like this rate study should be good 3 to 4 years. Like
Okay, that's kind of.
that's the confidence interval that I have now. I can't guarantee it. It's like the plant. It says
Yeah.
20 years, but hell, it might last 100. I've got communities that have gone 20 years without raising their rates. It's just, some, you have to do it every year. So it's a 3 to 4. If you guys are prudent and you're watching the cash, and, or an alley, we're gonna see it. What we wanna do, I'll tell you, is be proactive and not reactive. Don't wait till you're out of money to make a decision.
Right,
Earl says, guys, chemical cost is going up 25% next year, and when it's a big number and, it's time to think about it.
I mean, I agree with Earl in regards to the operational cost, and maintenance of the facility. I think it's gonna be more.
And what I would say to that is like, I can amend this. This is the time, this is your all's stuff. So like, I'm looking for feedback. I'm by no means, if you say, hey, I don't feel like the 87,000, 36,000 is enough. I mean, I can increase it, and then, they're still gonna have, like, when we'll go through it and I can put it in for that. We don't have to come back here. So if, like, you guys don't have to do it again, but, so it's not like this stuff is locked in. Now's the time for feedback.
I'll give you one thing to think about as we talk about every home that goes out there, or the homes, as we start to count this chicken before the hatch thing. We will spend, and I'm asking him right now for the exact amount, but we're gonna spend approximately $500 to $600 on every home for the water meter, the transmitter head, and the antenna to go into every water pit. So we're paying that off long before we pay off anything else.
Which is what your capacity fee is.
Supposed
Is
to cover.
for-
Correct.
We're using it for a good cause, the right cause,
Correct.
but also like, if we weren't doing this project and you were collecting that money, it would help pay for some of those things,
Right.
right? Like,
Correct.
that's,
It's supposed to.
right.
well, we're doing a trade-off, really.
Our tap fees are $750.
I know, but we can raise them.
Yeah, and they need to be. I spoke with our main plumbing supplier yesterday, and I told him what our minimum fee bill was every month. If you look on there for 5/8, it's 17 something. He laughed. He said, "Oh, that's way too low."
Yeah, it's 2,000 gallons.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we can look at that the town has we've set ourselves up for this because we haven't kept up all these years, because we didn't want to knock on the door of person, hey, you gotta pay some more. And I understand that point, but it's put us in this predicament. And now we're gonna have to hit him, we're probably gonna have to hit him pretty hard. I'd like to soften as much as possible, but the reality is, it's not happening.
Earl, could I ask you, so the tap fees are $750. What does it cost to do a 5/8 or so?
Well, depending on any type of how far we're trenching or anything else that's involved with the property, really when it comes down to, I'll tell you this, we just tapped that building across the street there this summer. And between the water line and going down to where we really need all the excavation, we easily spent probably in the ballpark of $15,000 to $16,000 just on him alone.
Was that a 5/8 inch connection?
No. That's two,
Oh, that's
that's
good.
two.
Well, you
inch.
should have, you charged them that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He helped pay for it, but I'm just telling you what it really cost us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
he-
a larger meter, just for those of you if you don't know, a tap, and this is all on page 10. of the rate study. It's the actual cost, but not less than $750. So in that case, they should have
Charge.
paid, so
We did.
we tweaked that language, I think, because I think there was a period of time which it wasn't like that maybe. and- But like now is the time to address that, like that tap fee. Like if you want, like, we're going through the process, we will put it in the rate ordinance. So if
What do we need to
it's up
increase it
to you
to?
all, I'm just,
At this point in time, we would be foolish not to raise the tap fee. The minimum is $750 now. It probably should be more along the lines of 1,000 plus, and that's the lowest level.
Yeah, I was thinking 1,200.
You don't have any way to, gain back any, I mean, on the tap fee, that's the only money that you've got to put a meter in to cover a meter cost. Is that correct? Cause the other fee, we already got to go into the water.
The
plant.
impact fee that he talks about really is for new construction.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be times you might tap somebody, it's not new construction. I mean, you're not always gonna get an impact fee for someone.
No,
who
but
wants
I'm just talking about out here.
Out here.
Yes, that when you, right now, you don't have any money to pay for your meter. Is that correct?
Not really, not because we're using impact fees somewhere else.
but those capacity fee, I kind of
The
missed up.
capacity fee is, but the tap fee
The tap
would
fee
would be what you would use to pay for the meter, which is just paying for the meter.
Correct.
No labor.
And no labor or
How many
anything
hours?
else.
It depends, it really depends.
What's the high end?
Well, shoot, over here, we were on there for a few weeks. You
How
know,
about
dig that
on
thing
a
up.
typical
On the low
residential?
end, you're talking, if you really could concentrate only on that, at least 2 days for sure.
2 days?
Right.
Okay, so
And
and how many people? One man, 2 days?
No, that's at least 2.
So that's 16 hours. I don't know what our
Well, that's
composite rate is.
32 hours, 8 hours a day. 2
That's
days.
new service,
2 days.
right? New service.
Yeah, if we're trenching and doing everything else, yeah.
Okay.
And each person's different.
Yeah, 32 hours at like $100 an hour. I mean, and that doesn't pay for a backhoe time.
Yeah,
either.
that's not equipment or.
So we're putting it in from the house. Is that what you're saying? From the house to the,
No, that's up to the person to put it from the house to the pit. We would go from the pit to the main. That's where we tap.
Mhm.
So by the time you get a backhoe out there excavated, I mean, yeah, 2 days, that's,
Yeah. that's
and equipment fee, so you're looking 32 hours and probably have 1 day of backhoe?
Easily, yeah. And that's
So-
not including.
I thought they
And you
were
got backhoe?
supposed to
I was
be,
gonna say, is Arbor not doing
I
that?
thought,
No, Arbor, that's a different story, Arbor.
Okay.
that's what
No,
I'm
no, no, we're
asking
talking
about.
Oh, okay, well,
Arbor, I thought was responsible for coming from the water line to the pit.
Arbor right now is doing almost all of it because that's private property out there.
Mhm.
We don't have anything to do with that. That's all their property. What they dig and trench out there. is
But
all-
whose meter is it? Is it our
It's
meter?
gonna be our meter.
So the only thing we got to pay for the meter is the tap fee that,
Correct. And they are gonna give that to us.
so
Correct.
all that is just a trade-off. You're getting the money in that's
Pretty
paying for the
much.
meter and then the money's gone cause that's what the meter
Correct.
costs.
Right.
And that just, not, no labor either.
No,
Well, he don't have any labor.
No, I think you guys are a little confused about out there.
He don't have any labor out there. He's gonna give them the meter and they're gonna put it in.
Labor.
Well,
He's gotta order it.
They
He's gotta
gotta
order it. He's gotta-
We'll do that.
Yeah, but there's no labor out there because he's giving them the meter and they're putting it in.
Yeah, I'm talking, but he has to give them the meter, he has to drive it out there.
Okay, so we will take the meter out there. We will drill the hole in the meter lid for the antenna. We will actually attach the meter into the pit. They do not do that. They've run all the water lines. They've actually put the pit in. We'll do it from there. So yes, we'll be out there doing that. That process in and of itself, by the time you talk about drilling the hole in the lid and everything, maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
And then $500 in material. I mean,
Yes.
I mean,
Okay, so what I'm getting at is we're losing money
Or breaking even.
by putting, you won't even be breaking even if
Not
you got.
really.
No, if you look at, I don't know what a good municipality internal rate is, but if you think about the man and the truck and all that, looking at $200 an hour, Now, that's just not man hour, right? It's the truck, the equipment. So 3 hours at 600 plus 500 in parts is $1,100. I threw out there 1,200.
Mhm.
I mean, that's your cost for just a simple meter. Now, if we have to do a big tap, then we've got excavation, the backhoe, but that should be, they pay that cost for the excavation, the backhoe work.
Yeah, well, that would be whatever the normal cost is per hour for, well, however many men plus equipment.
So I guess I feel like on these tap fees, we need to increase the tap fees to 1,200.
So we would raise 1,200 and then the lesser, the oversized meter to 1,200, same way. I think you should, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking collectively, that's the minimum. An oversized meter is more expensive though, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how much more expensive than
I'd
oversized?
have to get the rates, but I mean, you jump up significantly when you go
Double?
from a 5/8 to a 1 inch to a 2 inch. I mean, significantly.
Double or triple?
Oh, easily double, sometimes even more than that.
All right, so that's
Well, that-
$1,000 plus.
He didn't pay for all that over there that
Yes,
you
we
guys did?
charged him.
No, he
I was
charged
gonna
We
say,
didn't charge him any labor, we didn't charge him any equipment fees, we didn't charge him any of that. We just provided that for him, but he paid for the material over there.
So $1,000 in a larger meter is gonna take what, 50% more time, 4.5 hours, let's just say 5 times 200 is 1,000, so you're looking at $2,000 for large meters. So 1,200 for 5/8 to 3/4 and 2,000 for your large meters, that's what it should be. Did you mark that in there?
Is that what you want? You want?
I'm asking you guys.
I would say, what are you telling him?
This is the time to,
5/8, where are we going from there?
this is the time to increase the tap fees, so that's what I'm doing. So 1,200 for your 5/8 to 3/4 and 2,000 for your large meters.
And that's just break even.
Well, do we want to mess with, like, because right now it says actual cost.
Let me do this,
But
let me
not
ask the
less.
supplier for exact costs of some of these things. So I have a little better idea, and I'll just give you, for instance, one brass 2-inch elbow for that water thing was $650. One.
So
One.
so we need to look at an assembly of parts and pieces that you include, so meter, 10 feet, whatever. You want to look at that whole piece and then come up with a cost of it, like
So let me get a better idea.
so many fittings, so many feet of pipe.
But if it's, as it's written,
It's the
we
actual
can
cost.
recover those, we don't, I guess, do we have to dive down that rabbit hole, because if it's. over
Oh, I hear
$1,200,
what, you're not wanting to overcomplicate, got it.
Like, if it costs them 1,000 and we get 1,200, if it costs them 5,000, they pay 5,000. Because we change that to say it's the actual cost, so
Okay.
whatever, all that.
Yeah.
But not less than 1,200 is what we would say. So our minimum
Yeah.
floor is 1,200. If it's over, now we don't identify, and I don't know that I've ever seen it in an ordinance, like if you want to charge back time, like if labor time is $100 an hour, what, like, I've never seen it.
You have to be careful on the labor time because you're already paying that labor.
Right, what I'm trying to do is coming up with the cost of the meter
Yeah,
would be the value of time and equipment, everything included in that. So if you tell me how much is it, I've got a man that's getting in a truck, driving from point A to point B, that cost has to be included as part of a tap fee. And he got to pay for the portion of the truck, his time to have supply sitting on the shelf, all that needs to be included. It's like making a sandwich. You got to go to the store first, get bread.
No, I
That's
get it. I was
that's what I'm
trying to
driving.
think, it's got,
yeah,
And so what
well,
I'm driving at is from a baseline cost, $1,200 for a typical 5/8 to 3/4 meter is, sounds about what the budget number would be. For a larger meter, he's telling us right off the bat, the meter cost is 2.5 to 3 times more. So the minimum cost you're going to be putting out in a large meter will automatically be higher. All the parts are heavier,
why
$600.
wouldn't
Are
what
you
he
saying-
said cover toward the cost of the job?
Because every time, even if it's a simple large meter job, it will always be more than that listed number.
Yeah.
That's what I'm driving at. So if I'm an owner and I see 750 plus actual cost, that 750 is just it's a marker. I really have no
it's
idea.
not 750 plus actual costs.
Oh, actual cost. excuse
It's
me.
actual
Actual
cost.
cost.
It's the lesser of the two. So if Earl goes out and buys a $600 elbow and a $2,000 meter, he's got $2,600 in material, right? So that's beyond the 750. So they would get charged. I I just don't recall like. the
Your
labor.
experience weighs in here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from construction
No,
experience.
I know, and I'm following you 100%. There's a balance between like diving in all of the piece and like, because there's so many options and scenarios, like we don't also want to price ourselves out. Like there is value in saying, look, we're gonna at least recover our labor or our material costs. We might have to invest some time that we don't get recovered, but like it's a new customer that's worth something in the
Well-
system. That makes sense. Like we're gonna recover monies for their labor through the rates.
Yeah, that's the
We're
whole
paying
thing.
him in his truck through the rates, which is in the O&M.
Okay.
So,
I think you want to simplify it too, if that's what you're looking at. If you're saying anything over $1,200, that's one thing, but if you want to separate your 5/8 and your 2-inch, you could have a separate minimum.
Yeah, that's what
But I
I'm
don't
looking
think-
at.
I
Yeah,
don't
there are
think you
two,
wanna mess with,
there are two tap fees. That's what I'm looking at.
yeah,
And they're both right now $750. That doesn't make sense to me because the larger meter is larger. So that value naturally should be larger because that will be a commercial
yeah,
industrial.
but the chances of it being, say if you set that at $2,000, the chances of it being under $2,000 pretty slim.
Right,
so we end up at the same
Yeah.
place.
right.
So that's what I'm driving at is I see that value or actual cost. Well, what's the actual cost?
Well, let me ask you this question, Earl. In my business, I got two prices. I got retail and wholesale. Well, if a meter, if you're saying a meter is $500, just say for example, does the manufacturer, whoever you're buying that from, since it's going to a town, do they give you a lesser price that you buy, but there is a retail price and that's what you should be charging?
I'm not aware of that.
They are the retailer in his world, because I don't go out and buy a meter. Well,
They call it trade, it's called trade they call it trade service pricing, list price. So if you're doing a construction change order, there is a book called Trade Service that you can go to that lists wholesale prices on stuff, but that's not, it's a huge average, not necessarily for an area. And then you have multipliers you can add to
Well, yeah,
it.
but all the parts I buy, I put on motorcycles, there's two different prices. There's wholesale and retail price.
Yep.
Okay, since I'm a dealer, I get it cheaper, but I charge the whole retail price. And why should we not make some money off of what we get?
Right. I agree.
So what you're saying is everything you get and put in, the customer gets it for the same price you do.
For the most part.
That
I
don't
mean,
seem
can we
right.
even do that? Can we even go beyond our limits of,
Well, that's what I
Before
was driving at.
you know,
earlier
even
by
can
adding
we even
labor
do
out.
that? Because that's like,
That's
You
not,
know-
that's not a limit. You set it up the price for what the retail price would be. But then you buy it at the wholesale price, so your utilities are making money, which they should make money. But why would you not make money
well, I
off the
mean,
product?
even by state statute, can we even make money off of labor, basically, because we're already paying it I'm asking somebody who would know. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I don't think, you're not talking about labor, you're talking
I'm
about
talking about the price of the product.
having a markup on the
but-
product.
Yeah,
is there even a retail price in meat? Like, they don't sell them at Walmart. Like, they are the final end user, like a utility from wherever you buy your stuff. He is the final purchaser of them. Now, if general contractor says, why just slap 20% on everything I buy and marginalize it? That's not a market-driven retail versus wholesale. That's just like, we're buying it for $100, we're gonna sell it to you for 120 to make 20%, which,
But you have to pay, you've got a purchase order system. Someone has to write a PO. I mean, all those are real costs. So every time you write a PO, it's like, $500 a PO for labor costs. They have to be included. That's where the 20% markup comes in. Plus someone has to make the phone call. Someone has to make the order. Someone has to make sure it's the right piece that comes in. I mean, all that stuff has to be included. And a lot of times you just look at that overhead, right? It's just a part of the process.
But if you look at the long-term customer, that's what you got. It's like the RUC used to give away water heaters. And the reason they would do that is they wanted you to use an electric water heater as opposed to a gas water heater, right? So, they would give you that water heater knowing that you're gonna be paying on that electric for the next 20 years.
yeah.
So it's basically, so the water, Right, I hear what you're
We
saying.
want people to buy water. That will help everybody.
Huh?
Theoretically, they're like,
They're gonna do that regardless, I'll tell
no,
you
but,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
All right, so I want to address the issue real quick though, in regards to what Earl was talking about is like your costs, your operational costs. And I know you use these values, maintenance, supplies and chemicals, repairs and maintenance. These are all based upon history of our existing plant. And we're getting a new plant that has electronics, fancier, just say more expensive stuff to fix. The values that you increased for these, to compensate for that, I mean, did Dan give you any operational cost that you'd anticipate for that?
no, and I'll be like, usually there's not. If anything, it goes the other way. It's like when you put a new plan in, it tends, they'll say, I mean, that's not what, right? That most of the time I found that like it creates efficiencies because you're gonna have
More
newer technology.
automation.
Now we know like technology can be expensive when it breaks, but like it should create a more efficient system. The plant should be much more efficient than the current plant. So a lot of times when that question comes up, like there's potentially cost savings, but we didn't adjust for that.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of cost savings. I was actually thinking the exact opposite. Increase in consumables.
Oh, there's more.
More chemicals, it's a bigger facility. You're gonna use more. That's where I was.
Maybe like I.
But what I hear you saying is what you have found in most municipalities is cost goes down.
Yeah, or these
Operational cost.
projects, like most of the time, unless you're building a brand new plant, obviously you've got more electricity. But like even that, I'm sure there's gonna be more electrical components in the new plant, but I bet those pumps are much more efficient than your current pumps, right? I mean.
Right, there's a control system that would, dial down the pumps.
And
you could
so
save
you
some-
have those things with chemicals where, I don't know how you measure and put it in now, but it might be on a system that it only puts it in when you need it and there's not extra, like, that's what I found. I mean, I can reach out to Dan and Nathan and ask them.
It would be nice if they had any chemical costs or operational costs, just as a checkpoint. The other thing is like, simple things like maneuvering the chlorine tanks, the chlorine room at the back of the building because it has to be by design. But getting the chlorine tanks from the front of the building to the back of the building. Now we're getting into logistics. Sorry to do this to you. Currently, they got to back up a big trailer, and then he's got to offload it off of a jack or off of a tailgate. And then he just rolls it right into the building. Now he's got to take it. The truck won't be able to get back there. They'll have to come in a different delivery truck. And then he's got to move the chlorine tanks from the front to the back, which requires more handling. That's what I'm driving at, right?
Yeah.
Previous that wasn't there. Now we got to handle more. Those are the little gotchas that I'm asking about.
Yeah.
So
I did not factor all that.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
I understand, but I'm trying to give you the back.
Yeah, no, I
back-
understand. Yeah.
So is it possible for you to run a couple more models in regards to just stair step in the rate? And not looking at the numbers, but like right now you got 111.4%.
Mhm.
What if it was 115%? Is that a justification?
Yeah.
Can you justify 150% rate
Yeah,
increase?
we could, I mean, it's gonna come up with, I'll do it right now. I can tell you what that number, like, what,
I figured just add an additional column.
I mean, really, at this point, we're just adjusting the 80, if I adjust that 87,000.
Got it.
That'd be like $93 probably.
Earl, I got another question for you. What do you know about the condition of the physical plant from the two wells that we have now? The underground piping back up to where it comes into the water plant?
That's a good question.
I have no idea what the condition of those pipes is.
Well, and then I guess to go on with this, looking at building this new plant, they're gonna be digging up from the new well, which is a little ways away from the other two, and then bringing a new pipe in. But all that has to come together someplace. Was there any consideration, now I don't know this because I didn't ask Cutshaw, but was there any consideration in this whole pricing of doing anything with the piping that's coming in from the other two wells.
No, they still, they
So,
will join together, but no.
so we're gonna have a new set of, or new pipes coming in from the new well, but it's going to the, still gonna have the two old pipes coming from the old well that we don't know what condition they're in.
Right. We're still, to be honest with you, Dave, we're still on the planning. Eric and I got together, we looked over the plans, we talked about changes that we needed, that we foresaw that they, I don't think really saw because they're not operators. We presented that to Dan, so he's still gotta tweak this regardless, and that can be another tweak.
Well, the addendum one went out on Friday and the bids are coming on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to add scope, I don't know if you have, they're gonna delay the bid opening.
Yeah,
They've got to have time to react. So if you want them to change piping and stuff, Dan is going to delay the bid opening.
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question, cause
I'm looking
you're
at the
talking
print right
about
now.
old stuff. Those things have been in there for years since they moved that water tower from there next to Ivan's and built that water tower. Those same pipes have been in there, and I don't know when they built that, but it's been a long time ago.
Well, I mean, so I know we can rerun these models, et cetera, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's already going up 111%.
So to get you to one, it's like 116. If we change the 87 to 105, it's 116, so it's gonna be like 2. Yeah, 100,000 even.
You're going
It's 115.1%.
So you revised 87,815 to 100,000 even,
100,000.
and that gives you the 115%.
Yeah, and so that leaves you, so 50,000 for 5 years. So remember this, the 50,000 reserve requirement is only 5 years, and then it falls back into the available. So if you don't have any issues in 5 years, right, you're living on $50,000, but after 5 years, it becomes 100. All things the same, of course. So that's something to consider. And that's why we're trying, because that reserve is only a 5 year, so it's not forever. The 5-year funding, the $50,000, it's not forever that you have to keep funding it. So it's gonna roll back into available for operations, repair, maintenance, depreciation.
Right. I think the concern though is not in 5 years, it's within the 5 years.
So yeah, if it's
The
within.
issue of damaged pipes and like what Grumpy was talking about in regards to, well, yeah, all that type of thing is not going to happen outside the 5 year window. It's going to happen within the 5 year window.
But just think though, that if we got that 50,000 and Ally puts that in Indiana funds, that's that, and right now it's 5%, so that's $2,500. Right?
Is it a 5% AP per year?
5%?
That's
I
what,
was gonna say,
that's what I think. Isn't that what it is, Ally?
Yeah,
closer to 4, I
I think it's like 4.
4.2 maybe.
Okay, so well, then you're looking at a little less than 2,500 a year.
All right.
That you can add to the 50,000. So the next year you got 2,000. So now you got 100,000 and plus the 2,000, and then that's gonna give another 2,000. So we're gonna gain every year as long as we don't take any money out of
it
it.
sounds like
nothing
you might
breaks.
need the money though,
Uh,
5 years, yeah, I agree.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I can run with the 100, if that gives you a little more peace of mind, I can do the 100,000. Well, you all need to decide.
what's the bottom line at
It's this-
115?
This one. Yeah, we're correct.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh?
And then what's the new rate at?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
it's, alright. Hold on, I need this computer to get more than that.
You're still talking about not taking any more than
Well,
50,000 out.
if you take the 3935 times 115 on your calculator there,
Say again, what was it?
39.35.
I'm sorry.
39.35.
Got it.
Times 1.15, or 2.15.
8460.
So it's only $1 something a month. Well, that's a no-brainer then there.
What do you guys think of that? We moved the 87 to 100.
Well,
Just
I
a
mean,
little
that-
bit more.
Yeah,
It increases the rate from 8320 to 8460.
yeah, I mean, that's,
I mean, I'm leaning on you hard because, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I need you guys to support these numbers, and that's your job, like,
Right.
So.
And then tap fees, bumping those to 1,200.
That's for the, now we were doing it different, though. 5/8 is 1,200, and then we bumped up as a minimum the other categories, is that correct?
Well, so no, that's not where we ended on the conversation. We ended at both rates being 1,200.
But you get the cost,
it's,
we'll leave we're always gonna leave the language of, it's the lesser of the two.
Okay.
So it's 1,200 minimum, if it costs you 2,000, then it's $2,000 to the,
And you're recommending not change, in what Jared was saying, he doesn't see in any other municipality where they have a varying rate, correct? On
not
that,
you, no. I mean,
it's 1,200 flat.
or we could just say actual cost.
But we're doing that anyway, right?
I mean, it's
Actual cost for
basically,
minimum
like, that's
1,200.
what happens. is-
Because if I'm a builder and I look at that, I'm going to put $1,200 in my estimate.
Yeah.
If I'm a commercial
I
builder,
like
right?
having that minimum, although.
That's what I would do.
90% of the time, it's always more,
Right.
right?
But I would complain and say, wait a minute, 1,200, that's
give
what
me
you have in
something,
there.
like, give me something to work off of, yeah.
I mean, what I was hearing was I was trying to get the large meter to 2,000, 1,200
Right.
for the 5/8 and 2,000 for the large meter. But it doesn't, but what Jared is saying is it doesn't
It's already
matter.
in there anyway.
It's gonna be cost. So
yeah.
let's not make it more complicated. So
Right.
circling back around, keep it both 1,200. Yeah, increase that to 1,200. Oof.
So do you still want to vote on this?
I mean, yes, I need you guys to make a recommendation for the council to consider the rate study.
So
as amended.
let me mark your guys' sheet up so you can see exactly.
You'll make consider right now.
Mark your sheet up real quick. I don't want us to be confused.
What happened?
Oh, I'm not, you don't have to mark it out. I'm with you.
And this was 8460.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, if you wanna know what's gonna happen, if you don't adopt the rates.
I mean,
you
a
can't sell
dollar
them
or
on,
something,
you can't
you
make
can
it.
If it helps us,
I got
it's like $15,000 a year. If you do the numbers.
They actually got, SRF subsidized, like they're in the fund we're in, and they have like big money, not the, like Okra's, 750, fine, but like millions. And they didn't want
Because
to
we
raise the
had no
rates. And they gave
extra
up, it was
built
like a
in
couple million
beyond
bucks.
the project, correct?
I mean, we, like,
So this will give us
We're
an
like,
extra 15 grand a year.
okay, I mean,
I think it's gonna go towards maintenance, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's gonna-
no, I
think
Well,
it's
to
gonna-
me, when
I think
you
it's gonna-
compare
No, I'm,
Oh, I know,
the
I
Oakland
agree.
grant
I
at
agree with
750,000 to almost a $4 million project is just totally ridiculous. I mean, yeah, they're helping a town, but they're not helping that much for $750,000. They ought to be going half and half or 3/4 and 1/4 or something like that. I mean, that's ridiculous I know we don't have any control over that, but to me, that's not helping the town that much. When you got a $4 million project, you give them $750,000.
Satisfied with the
Yeah.
discussion?
I mean,
it's our tax base, man.
there's
You know,
money,
that's
so
how
like,
they
just
kind of
so
go
we're
by.
listening to
We just don't have that many people and they look at your tax, what your revenue, off your taxes.
It don't make any difference.
I know, I agree with you totally. This is the same problem we had several years
But I think it
ago.
came, it's because it's the way the formula is. I get,
And then
that.
it's gonna change, because when we get the bids.
What's that?
Like I said, we might end up in the same spot,
So whatever money comes from over is coming from property taxes.
which,
Well, but.
That's what I'm saying. I think they base that on your municipal income off your taxes.
Population, yeah.
Obviously, they're gonna give Indianapolis or Lebanon or way more money, just because they got the bigger,
That's where they're getting their money.
Yeah. yeah. It's the same problem we've had for a long, long time, trying to do like when we built the fire station and all that. Man, we had to go get a lot of private money to match just to get a bigger number. I mean, it was difficult
Okay.
because of that.
But
What's that?
it just doesn't seem right.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Because the town, I mean, you're hurting the citizens of the town that are already strapped, and now we're strapping them
Well, we
more.
will.
And you got a lot of them, like I said, was on, they're on fixed incomes and they're really gonna be complaining. If
All right,
there
are
ain't
you,
anything we can do about it, I agree.
Yeah,
Pat, are you
no,
on board with everything on here?
Yeah.
Just a quick summary.
I am now.
The item, the rate increase, we need to do as soon as possible. It sounds like July 1st, 2026, right now is what the date is at $36,000 payment. Jared's gonna try and get that pushed back to January, which would be nice because we need a little bit of time to burn the
To
community.
make, yeah,
Inform, not burn, and it, let the community know. this
and
is
make,
what's happening.
get more money.
Correct. Now, that's not in stone yet. That's just a potential.
Yeah,
The next thing that we revise is we're taking the rate, I marked your sheet up, the $1,200, and then we're increasing
right.
the tap fees to $1,200, and then we're increasing this.
Yeah, anything above that cost, right? Yeah, so,
It's also confusing why he's trying to raise the bottom fee for the bigger meters when the temporary cost regardless.
Yeah, that's what I was driving at. It's like, because I'm a builder and I look at it, I'll put in 1,200. Wait a minute, I knew those meters cost $2,000. Wait,
but we're
it says right
charging
here, it's
that
gonna
anyway.
be cost, so what's the?
Yeah, but you're charging regardless.
Yeah.
And then we're increasing this to $100,000, basically $13,000, which
Yeah.
makes it 15%, which gets us to 8460
Yeah,
based on 4,000 gallons.
yeah,
So essentially, the net result is, a 2.15 multiplication factor on your bill. All right, and then this document, I don't know if you guys read this, this is the recommendation for the bond, how to go get the money.
yeah,
And these values in here that they talk about is 6 million, obviously that's not it, but you just want to get some upper limits so we don't have to continuously reissue this if that's the case. The hope is it's not to exceed 6%, but obviously the market's the market.
oh, I thought he said there was a 6% cap.
Yeah, not to exceed 6%.
Yeah.
So that's the cap.
Yeah,
And so the market right now is anticipating 4.5%. Okay, so do we have a positive? So we need to take a vote on this. I'll record the vote. Oh, let me get my notes out.
you might need to read this.
The town council would read that, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, because
We're making a
just
recommendation. that
recommendation.
This is the bond you should use. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So all those in favor of the 2026 rate study that Jared's presented with the revised numbers I just talked about, is everyone on board with this, wanting to send this as a positive recommendation to the town board that they should heed the new values that the $1,200 tap fees and the 15%? Are you guys on board, Earl?
Yes. Yes.
Matt?
yeah, I'm on
Matt?
board.
All right, so am I. Okay, and then the bond vehicle, or the payment vehicle to get this thing funded and paid for, this bond resolution. Are you guys good for us going this route? I don't think that we have any rich benefactors locally or anyone that want to fund it.
Stuckey be looking,
All right,
he'd be looking to donate.
all right, Jared, with the revised numbers,
Yeah,
Thumbs
you
up
guys
on that.
Sign that and give it.
Oh, crap, I-
We'll-
I marked up all over it.
So it should give you a copy.
I'm sorry.
I got a copy right here.
We got a clean
Here,
copy.
well, I get a copy. Just use this one. There we go. Do we all sign it or just the president? They just see one line.
You can all sign it.
Oh, it says board.
I think we all should sign it.
I like it, just you signing it.
Anything else want to get the name down on there? Knock yourselves out.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting this presentation together. Thank you for all the hard work. I know sometimes these aren't the greatest things, and sorry to put you over the coals and ask all the hard questions.
For a living.
You get paid to do this,
It's
Jared.
not the most exciting, no, it actually is. This is, this one's been going.
Yeah, the town's paying him way too much to do this.
Well,
Grumpy will always be after money and keep costs down. That's his job. All right,
There's your sign.
thanks.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, without any further ado, we'll close the meeting. Matt, go get some sleep.
See that.
See you, bud.
Earl, be careful today.